Hey HardForkers, welcome to the long form conversation with one of the projects that we're assessing in the 1BTC and 32 Ethereum show. If you haven't seen that show yet, there's a link below. Make sure you check it out. Effectively, it's a competition show amongst our team to see who can trade their way to that mark of 1BTC or 32 Ethereum. These projects have made a small donation to us. We then individually decide whether we hold that project, sell it, or invest more. So look, check out the main show and enjoy this long form interview with this project. Cheers. Welcome along, HardForkers. We're here today with Draith, one of the captains at Pirate Chain. Welcome along, Draith.
Nice to be here, man.
Joining us again, Stefano. How are you, sir?
I'm good.
Very good. We're juggling different time zones here, so we're looking forward to having a chat with you today, Draith. Obviously, it can be a polarizing subject, the issue of privacy coins. So maybe if you start off by telling us a bit about yourself and how it's all come about.
Yeah, so I am an engineer by day. I've run several small businesses on the side and things like that, and then eventually got into crypto back in, I think it was 2016. And yeah, so I was a miner, just doing my thing, and eventually stumbled upon Pirate Chain about a month and a half after its inception. So I started mining it because it was profitable. Then I realized what kind of project it was as far as privacy was concerned, because it basically is what Zcash should have been, and combines both the best of Zcash and Monero in the sense of it's private by default, so shielded transactions only for peer-to-peer, and it uses ZK-Snarks technology, or the ZK-Snarks protocol, which is widely considered the strongest privacy protocol out there. So seeing this and seeing that it was a community project, there's no ICO, no IEO, there was no dev fees and nothing like that, and a fair launch, I was like, this is probably something that I really want to stick with. So after attending a couple of community meetings, I realized that, I wanted to get more involved. So I started joining them. And one of the captains back then suggested that, was asking for any ideas for marketing. And I suggested, how about some physical coins, So he's like, yeah, go ahead, take the initiative. So I did, and then created my own store, and then just worked my way up the chain just by doing everything I could to help the project, and eventually landed on the captain position. So I've been basically helping lead the ship, and with when it comes to fundraising or marketing or interviews, and pretty much any way I really can. And It's just one of the best experiences I've ever had, because I've met so many awesome people from the project, and everyone's just there because they want to be there, not for because they're getting paid to be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How big is the team involved?
Well, considering it's a community project, a ton of the community is involved, but I would say as far as like captains, first mates, and deckhands, probably at least like 50, 60 people.
Wow. Okay. And give us a bit of a timeline. When did the community come together? How's it growing? Where is it currently at?
Yeah, sure. So the Genesis block was August 29th of 2018. And it was essentially a creation of some of the developers from Komodo, who got together and was like, let's see if we can make a chain work that uses ZK-Snarks and shielded transactions only. So they got it to work, launched the chain, had some announcements and all that stuff. And then from that point, we were the first shielded transactional only ZK-Snarks chain out there. And then we were the first privacy chain that uses that to be listed on an exchange. Recently we beat Zcash to the punch with releasing a shielded transaction only mobile wallet. But from beginning to now, I mean, we've done quite a bit of stuff, including creating our own operating system, thanks to the initiative of Lutz, who's one of the first mates, and just a ton of different developments. Right now, we're working on integrating I2P. I have a couple of things that I'm personally working on that's kind of top secret, and then we're creating a iOS version of the mobile wallet right now. So,
sure. Okay. I mean, obviously, in the privacy coin space, most people are familiar with Monero.
yeah.
Why would somebody use your project over Monero if they were really looking for that utility of a privacy coin?
For the simple fact that even Fluffy Pony himself has said that ZK-Snarks is a stronger privacy protocol, and the reason why Monero is ranked way above Zcash is the fact that Zcash uses transparent addresses. And I think it was something along the lines of like 95 to 97% of all their transactions are transparent, and that's not really something you want in a privacy coin, or something that's supposed to be a privacy coin. So Pirate Chain fixes that by, after the block reward is released, from that point on, it can only be sent to shielded addresses. So the only transparent addresses are the addresses that receive the initial block reward, whether it's the solo miner or the actual pool, and then that gets distributed to all the Z addresses after that. So that's for accounting purposes and stuff. So
okay. Look, let's...
actually, real quick, not to mention that we also use delayed proof of work, which means that our transactions get notarized onto Komodo's blockchain, whose transactions get notarized onto Bitcoin's blockchain. So in order to successfully 51% attack our chain, you'd have to 51% attack us, Komodo, and Bitcoin simultaneously to do anything. So
right. Okay. So let's have a quick look at the price history of you guys, and then we'll get into a few more technical questions. So
sure.
The ticker is, there we go, Arrr. Fantastic name. So if we look at the all-time, oh wow, you're on the march price-wise lately. So yeah, maybe tell us, is it a project that you see people sort of speculating on from a price point of view, or being a privacy project? Is it much more a hardcore that are using and supporting the project for its obvious attributes? What are your thoughts around that?
So obviously there's going to be speculators, any project, there's always going to be speculators, people do charts, people, just to hold to sell at a higher price and things like that. But I would say the vast majority of people that are in Pirate Chain, actually are in it because they believe in it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because we've been onboarding more and more shops. So as time progresses, I think we have something along the lines of like 20 to 30 shops currently that accept Pirate Chain. We're developing more tools for shops to accept Pirate Chain, whether it's Pirate Pay, which is a plugin we're developing for WordPress and a ton of other applications. We're listed on cryptocurrency checkout for payments. And obviously Pirate Chain's in the BPSAA. So the BPSAA is actually developing a point of sale system. The launch on that is, probably next year at some point. But essentially what will happen is you'll be able to pay with any of the members of the BPSAA's coins or tokens. Yep. And then the store owner, which can be a physical shop, can accept either the coin itself or whatever coin they want to accept, and it'll just auto convert using the system that is being built. So
yeah, great. So you're just looking at your social media here. That looks fairly active. What are some of the better ways people can get in touch with you?
Our Discord, our Telegram. We have a line. We have tons and tons of different ways, including like Facebook, obviously, which we don't like being on, but obviously there's users there that, that we can snag. And, any of our social medias that are listed on our website, pretty much. So.
Okay. Fantastic. Obviously, there was quite a big. Just coming back to price for a moment here before we move into some of the technical questions. Yep, you had a big spike there in August. What was there something that happened there to cause that, or
August of 2019 or this
year?
This August? Oh, this year, yeah. So actually, there was a 70 some odd page report that came out from this one. Basically, he's a crypto enthusiast and makes recommendations on, which projects he sees, doing really well, and especially in the future. So there was a 70 something page report that was produced that was really, really in depth on, who we are and what type of protocol we use, how we compare to other chains and so forth. And it was extremely bullish. So, and it noted that, yeah, we are still a young project compared to the likes of, say, Monero and Zcash, but we're a serious contender in the next, actually even now we are a serious contender because we have a higher privacy set than Zcash themselves and even Monero. So, but in the near future, they predict that will be a major player in the entire market for privacy coins.
Okay. So, I mean, taking a Zcash, they obviously, when we think privacy coins, a lot of people associate that with the dark web, etc. But for a Zcash, they've actually sort of worked with the corporate world. Could you tell us a bit about who are you guys working with? Who's Pirate Chain for, in your opinion?
Pirate Chain is for the people. It's just like anything else. It's up to you on how you use it. I mean, we don't recommend you use it for illegal things, but I mean, what's the most used coin in the darknet? Bitcoin. So, and Bitcoin is not a privacy coin. So that being said, Pirate Chain is for the people. I mean, that's why we don't have a dev fee. That's why we don't have, the ICO or IEO that a lot of projects have and things like that. And we're community driven, So basically we want to expand our quote unquote armada to, everywhere we possibly can and just have people adopt it and use it. And just because we care about everyone's privacy, otherwise we wouldn't build like the operating system that was built, because the OS that was built was meant to, host your wallet and run your wallet on a live boot USB so that, you yourself can't really screw things up. Because usually what happens is the user is the one that negates their own privacy in some type of form or fashion, especially their security by, downloading weird things or whatever, right? Yep. So with the OS, it's got MAC address spoofing. It's going to have a built-in VPN thanks to Sentinel and things like that, just to protect users' privacy. So that's one thing that we truly care about and want to help people get used to the idea of, securing their own privacy.
Yeah. How do you actually sort of go about educating the average person? I mean, there's always been a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? I mean, people have obviously always assumed that Bitcoin was private. That was been a huge learning for most people after you're in the space for a year or two to learn that actually no, a blockchain is a public record of pretty much everything you've ever done. So, how do you actually build in that is anonymity the word you would use here for what you guys are doing?
Absolutely, yeah. So I mean, basically, we tell people, everything you do on blockchain is there forever. So there may not be, say, a chain analysis tool out there right now for it, like, for say when back in the day with Bitcoin, but eventually one can be built and it can analyze all the addresses and transactions, and it can figure out who's who eventually. So the thing is with Pirate Chain is that it keeps your anonymity intact, because it's just like the way I like to say it is, the way Bitcoin works is like somebody can watch you hand somebody else $1. Whereas with Pirate Chain, it's like that dollar disappears from my pocket and appears in your pocket and nobody knows what happened because there's no record of it. I mean, there is record of it on the chain, but nobody can see that record. they don't see the amounts that were transacted. They don't see a rich list. They don't see the addresses that transacted and so forth. So
Your balances.
nope, no balances, nothing. So
Hey, sorry I'm late, guys. We got stuck in traffic.
No problem. You're the best dressed here, so we'll let you off.
To me, man.
Welcome along, Jordan. Better late than never. So, yeah, questions from Stefano and Jordan. Would you want to jump in first, Jordan?
There was just, I don't know, a week or two ago, there was this thing from Monero where they said that they figured out how to track it. Did you see that report?
yeah, it said something about like 30% of their transactions or something like that. I'm not sure how legit that is yet until more reports start coming out on that. But, it's not, it's never good news to have something like that published, obviously. So,
Yeah. That's it seems like it kind of knocks Monero down a couple notches in the privacy hierarchy, I think, if it's true, and if it actually is trackable by the American government and stuff.
yeah. So, even like I said before, even Fluffy Pony admits that Zcash's ZK-Snarks is a stronger privacy protocol. It's just the way that Zcash implements it by having transparent and private addresses just screws the whole thing up. So we fixed that by not having any transparent P2P transparent transactions. So,
Right, like you said, if it's optional, most people won't, right?
yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. How is the overall space evolving on issues of privacy and anonymity? Could you talk sort of generally about what you see happening, not just with you guys, but overall?
Yeah, overall, it's not moving as fast as we'd like, but more and more people are starting to push over into privacy coins for the simple fact that they start seeing a lot of government overreach and just chain analysis tools, and people like to have their privacy, and that's something that's been eroding over the years slowly. But I think people are starting to wake up to the fact that their privacy is something that they should hold dear to them, and having financial privacy especially is something that they need to care about. So it's slowly moving upward toward more and more people, but not as fast as I had hoped. So.
Do you think the privacy initiatives projects like yourselves have been overly vilified? Do you think there's misunderstanding there from say certain people that are trying to regulate the industry? It's for me, what's fascinated me sort of looking into some of the the developments in the space. People have, as I said before, assumed that Bitcoin was extremely private. You could have that reputation of being something used in the dark web, etc. They're always shocked when they find out that actually no, it's the complete opposite. It's incredibly visible. So if you could draw an analogy between the levels of privacy and anonymity that your project provides and sort of maybe map it against the traditional bank account and how the traditional system works, maybe to give some sort of perspective to people watching this and try to understand what they actually get when using your coin.
Yeah, so the way I like to say it is we're just as anonymous as cash. Like cash in the sense that if I make a transaction with you, right, in person with nobody around, no cameras, nothing, that's exactly what Pirate Chain would be, right? So as far as a bank account, pretty much anybody and their grandmother can see it, because if you're smart enough, you can hack into somebody's bank account. The government can see it, the banks can see it, so nothing's private. So when you use your bank card or your credit card or you name it, basically you're giving your transaction data, what it is you purchased, where you purchased it, what time, everything, to people that you don't even know, So something like that is probably, it is the worst privacy possible. And then I guess the next level would be something like, say, Zcash, where it has private and transparent transactions, which still isn't private unless you only send stuff through shielded addresses, and that's assuming that the person that sent you funds and the person you're sending funds to both have shielded addresses that they send funds to you and you to them. So,
Right.
because the moment that, you break that chain of shielded addresses, now all of a sudden there's just that small segment that somebody has to analyze, And then from that point, I would go to say Monero, because they use privacy by default. But the problem is that they use ring CT and things like that, which is, I guess for me, an analogy for that would be, say you have 11 cups sitting on a table upside down, and then you put a dollar bill under one of them, and then you start mixing them around and then just shove them all toward one person and say, here you go. And then that person knows where that dollar is, but another person looking on can eventually try to figure out which cup it's under.
Right.
And then from that point, I would say pirate chain, for the fact that, we're fully shielded P2P transactions. So to try to analyze us is trying to find, like an atom within, a mile radius of air.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, well, we're obviously going into a world where it looks like cash is going to be disappearing.
That's scary too.
It's a terrifying prospect. I don't think most people really grasp why that's terrifying.
Yeah.
There's going to be very little privacy left when that happens. So, I think it's great that we've got people like yourselves doing what you're doing. For the average person, though, that really isn't at a point where they've understood that these privacy initiatives are important. Obviously, that's a personal opinion. If someone was purely speculating on, it being a growing space and therefore the adoption and therefore value of your project going up, what's on the horizon for you guys, and what sort of growth are you seeing with your project and in privacy coins in general?
Yeah, like I said, the privacy sector in crypto is growing slowly but surely. Once, in my opinion, things get worse, which they will when it comes to the erosion of privacy, I think it'll hit its boom, because there hasn't been really been a privacy coin boom yet. And, currently on the market is DeFi stuff, which is the hot topic, obviously. Yep. So, but I think sometime in the near future, privacy coins will be huge, and we'll just get a lot of exposure, especially the serious ones like Monero and Pirate Chain and a few other ones. Now, as far as stuff for us on the horizon, like I said, we have a mobile wallet, the iOS version that we're developing to complement the Android version. We're making constant upgrades to the mobile wallets as well, thanks to Forge from Zero. We have that plugin we're developing. We have conferences we're attending. So we have a lot of stuff on the horizon as far as projects that we're working on, and the secret project I have going on, which obviously I can't talk about, and the I2P thing, which we can already run over Tor. So
yep.
Having I2P as a complement to that, so people can choose either or, is a great thing to have. Plus, we have pirate branded VPN service thanks to Sentinel.
Yep.
It's coming soon. So
there will be people watching this and saying, "Okay, this is a project that enables criminal behavior. This is wrong. This sort of thing shouldn't be happening." What do you have to say to those type of comments and those people?
Yeah, what's the number one most used asset for criminal activity? U.S. dollar.
Yep.
I mean, anything you have, I guarantee, has been and will always be used in some sort of criminal activity. It's just like saying, well, I've somebody got stabbed with a butter knife. Oh, all butter knives are used for murders. No, they're not. Butter knives are used for everyday things. Just like, any kind of currency. Currency itself is used for, living for the most part. You have to buy groceries, you have to do all this stuff, but it's just a matter of the fact that nobody should have any right to see what I purchased, how much I purchased, and things like that, and how much I have without me consenting to it. I don't like people knowing that I have, say, $50 in my bank account, you know, and what I spent all my money on or whatever, you know, and especially with, companies like Amazon or Google who love data mining all of that and then, selling it to advertisers and, them promoting whatever they want in front of my face because, oh, your past history shows that you purchased this. So we're going to push this in your face, or even for the fact that like, say, say I live in Colorado where weed's legal, right? So I buy weed with my, bank card, and all of a sudden weed becomes illegal again. Now they have a record of me purchasing that, and they can say, well, since he's bought it before, he's probably going to buy it again when it's illegal. So we can try to look for that.
Okay.
It's none of their business.
So if I have some pirate coins, where can I currently use them? Where are they primarily being used, and where in the future will we be able to use them?
Yeah, so currently if you go to armada.com, so ARRMADA.com, it'll show the list of stores where you can spend Pirate Chain and, where it's accepted and everything. And like I said, it's growing, every month we're at least getting one or two more stores. And, it's actually growing pretty quickly recently. So, I have my own store personally, which is physicalcryptocoins.com, where you can just buy commemorative coins of projects. There's, t-shirt stores, there's gift cards, there's web hosting, there's tons and tons of different types of stores where you can just, spend Pirate Chain. So.
Okay.
Can I jump in there, Sean?
Yeah, go for it.
So about the earlier topic about the progression of privacy coins, I kind of see it going, there's this DeFi hype, right? And I think privacy is really going to get a big boost from adoption once the tax season comes around, like people are making all this money, everything's open, right? Now making these crazy gains. And then as soon as, comes to like tax season, a lot of people are going to start getting pinched, right? And they're going to realize that, oh my God, none of this stuff is, it's all on chain. People are going to get busted for it. And then there's going to be, the IRS cracking down on a lot of people. And I think as soon as you start seeing some big cases like that, where people are like getting really hit up by the governments for, gains and what they're doing with all the gains that they made from DeFi, people are going to realize that they need a lot more privacy. And so I think, privacy is kind of like this slow build. And then there's going to be a couple events, big events, where you're going to see like a famous person maybe really get nailed. And then people are going to be like, oh, maybe we better rethink this.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's pretty much how privacy coins have always been, It's just a slow gain upwards. Yeah. Because, I mean, you'd be surprised at how many people don't know even the basics of keeping your stuff secure and private. Like, for example, we did an AMA with a trading group because one of their guys got hacked for quite a bit of money in Ethereum. So we went over there and did an AMA on privacy in general and basically how to stay private and secure, like in general, and the levels of privacy that you can attain, things like that. And I was shocked at how many people just didn't use a VPN. I mean, that's like step number one, or basically step number 0.1. Just get a VPN, even if it's a VPN that, has been, has questionable things where like if they get subpoenaed by the government, they'll get data and stuff. Regardless of that, at least it encrypts your data from outside people at the very minimum. So if you go to a hotel, get a VPN, use that. So
what VPN would you recommend?
Right now, Sentinel.
Right.
They're migrating to Cosmos soon. They're a DVPN project. They've won quite a bit of stuff from Cosmos and these other competitions that they were in for, most usage and just their tech in general. And they're also part of the BPSAA who, they're implementing their stuff into Pirate OS and a ton of different things. So
that's the
can you sign up using Pirate Chain? Can you buy?
Currently, if you use the mobile app, it's free.
Oh.
So eventually what we're going to do is we're going to have a gateway to where you can pay with any of the members of the BPSAA's coins or tokens for that service. So But if you don't want to go with something crypto related, I mean, Nord is very, very popular. I think they did run into some trouble not too long ago with something, but from what I know, they're still pretty decent. And there are several other good ones that, I can list later on and send it to you if you want. So,
I
Sure.
have one other question. Can you talk a little bit about the atomic DEX and Komodo and how R is integrated with the privacy swapping? How that
sure.
works?
So Pirate Chain isn't yet able to be added to the atomic DEX just because of the tech involved. They need to figure out ways to do certain things, and it's just not feasible at this point, but they're still trying to figure out ways to do it. So as a workaround, Gruel Satinder, who's one of the team members from Komodo and also Pirate, created Shirley, which is the subatomic DEX, which utilizes Pirate Chain and any other coin that with privacy features, like for ZK-Snarks and things like that, to be able to use an atomic DEX-like system. So for the time being, that's what's being developed for Pirate Chain, and the testing so far has been very positive. Everything has worked perfectly so far, so it's looking really good.
Nice. I see that as a big kind of wedge in the market. If we can get the privacy DEX going, that would be great.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that and being able to potentially use Pirate Chain as an intermediary to basically make your trades completely hidden.
Yeah. Right.
So you don't know what traded for what and everything like that. And that's also going to be huge. But I think, like, for example, a lot of main centralized exchanges have been, one of the biggest reasons for people leaving crypto in general, just because exchanges get hacked, people lose all their funds, and they're like, you know what, screw it, I'm done with this. So DEXs are going to be an amazing solution to that problem, so.
Stefano, any questions from you, sir?
Yes. So starting from like a very generic one, because like I was curious on like the daily POW, so that like according to like CoinGecko, you have like a max supply of like 200 millions. Right now they're like 160 or 166 million in place. So just like in a nutshell, can I mine Pirate Chain or no?
Yep. Yeah, you can. It's Equihash, so.
But so it goes like on the same
Z11
model of.
Yeah,
Sorry.
exactly. So it goes. It's the same thing as say for example, mining Komodo or Zcash. So it's still Equihash, but the delayed portion of it means that it's actually notarizing itself onto, Komodo's blockchain, and then that's notarizing itself onto Bitcoin's blockchain. So it's basically a notarization process, not so much it's a different algorithm than Equihash. So
Fair, got it. For the miners at least, would you say that the reward is better of like mining Pirate Chain than the mining Komodo or something else, or it's pretty much the same?
Yeah, we've pretty much been consistently number one in profit for mining purposes. So it's probably, I would say, as far as like 75 to 80% of the time, we've been number one on whattomine.com. So
that's amazing. Congrats on that, by the way.
Appreciate it.
Now the part where I'm like super interested, DOS. Is it that like a classic, a similar point of like, booting up a Linux mod into like a Mac or a Windows? So you got like your USB, you installed that. Is it for like laptops and computers? Is it for is there a possibility of having that on smartphones? Like in general, like all of that sphere, where is it now? How do you load it up? Where is it going in terms of like what application are going to be available? Kind of like a generic thing on that.
Yeah, sure. So the operating system is USB bootable. So you can use Mac or Windows and burn it onto a USB drive using Rufus, right? Then just power down your computer, plug it in, power it back up, and then it'll live boot from the USB, right? So this way, when you're done with it and you power it off and pull it out, nobody can get into your wallet because it's completely separated from the computer itself. So as of right now, where it stands is it's called Ghost Ship OS, right? So that's our first iteration of the operating system. So that in itself is just the light wallet, it's just bare bones, as much security as we can pack into it with MAC address spoofing and everything else. And then eventually we'll add on to that with a Sentinel's DVPN that they'll white label for us, right? So with that being said, you know, that's a bare bones system if you just want to use your wallet securely, right? Now, the next step for that is we're going to call it Galleon OS because it's going to be our flagship OS system. But I think we may do a little bit of a name change. It all depends. But as far as that's concerned, there's not too many details I can reveal about it because we're trying to keep this close to our chest. But it's going to be basically an operating system that you can use on a day-to-day basis, you know, and then you can load up a ton of different modules that we have, and you know, it'll include all the members from the BPSAAs, like, you know, various features, like for example, Ether1's IPFS storage system. It includes Sentinel's DVPN, Turtle Networks, Exchange, and so forth. So it's going to include a lot of stuff from other projects from the BPSAA and a ton of things that you can use on a day-to-day basis. So
that's cool. I know that obviously you cannot share much, but are we in a sort of like on a timeline? Is this something that you see like in the short middle term of being like released and complete, or at least like on an available version, or is something that, you know, we're like a couple of years far away because the development is going to take a long time for something like this? I don't know if you can share it or not, like totally.
I mean, I always like what developers say. It's done when it's done.
I know.
They hate giving timetables, you know. So I will say this, my prediction is that it'll be done sometime next year. So it's not going to be like a 3 to 5 year project. It's going to be under a year, in my opinion. So
fair enough. That's cool. That sounds like super interesting. Not gonna lie, it's pretty cool. It's very cool.
Yeah, we've had a lot of good feedback on that first OS. So I mean, that's the other reason why we're trying to build this second one, is like our flagship model, to include as much privacy stuff and as much security stuff as possible. And, you know, we're just coming up with creative ideas to actually protect the user itself. Because, like I said, the user itself is one of the weakest links in security, because it's always the user that generally downloads something or does something that breaches that security, and by them, like for their own security, and then allows other hackers to come in and things like that. So.
Fair enough. Last question that is more like personal, because obviously we touch base on, like, you know, Google and Amazon scrapping data. We touch base on the deep web and like use of like purchase of illegal things, tracking and using cash or credit cards and so on. In your personal opinion and like wish on that, which is like the industry or like the use case? I know that generically would be like everything, because like privacy is super important and so on. But what is like the number one industry that you think like privacy coin could actually like take over and completely like reverse and ensure that people will be protected from that moment ongoing, and so like change history forever?
Well, realistically, it is pretty much what we're exactly built for as a currency. You know, there's a lot of other chains that are used as a currency, but are built more like, for example, with Komodo, they're a platform, not really a currency, you know, and things like that. So we're a straight up currency. So for us, it's more along the lines of getting that mass adoption through building things like the point of sale system for people to be able to use in their daily lives. So the way I see it is, if I'm able to go out to a grocery store and spend Pirate Chain to get groceries, which I would normally do, that's when I know things are going to a point where it's going to just explode, and it's just going to take over to where people can use, that currency and be completely sure that their privacy is protected. Because if you were to spend Pirate Chain at a store, right, just like cash, they can't see, who spent that money. They don't know, anything about that unless, they have cameras and stuff and know exactly who spent that Pirate Chain when, and do a ton of digging, which is crazy. But either way, it's just like the people themselves have to realize how important privacy is. And then once people can use that privacy on a daily basis without even thinking about it, that's when things are going to really blow up.
That's fair. Love it. I mean, don't have anything else.
I think you've answered extremely well. Jordan, any closing questions?
Not really, I don't think. I mean, there's just a little bit of news the other day in Australia. They delisted almost every privacy coin that they had. And they even delisted Komodo, which, I mean, Arrr is based on Komodo's code, right? Or is it completely fresh?
Yeah, you can say it's based on Komodo's code, yeah.
So Komodo kind of distanced themselves from the privacy, but they still got some blowback from that and got delisted because of it, right?
Yeah.
And on Twitter, they said the privacy set is available in Komodo, but it's not, like developers can use the privacy set, but it's not stock, right? And I'm just,
yeah.
Where do you get privacy coins if this becomes a trend? Like, you think it just goes all to DEXs, right?
Yeah, DEXs, even centralized exchanges that are located in different countries. Just because, say, a couple major countries ban it doesn't mean it's banned everywhere in the entire world. That's why VPNs are so handy. You can connect to somewhere other countries so that it looks like you're from that country.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, there are going to be workarounds, and things are, when it comes to privacy coins and the right to privacy, there's always going to be people that are standing up for the average person's privacy, so there's always going to be organizations fighting the governments on that aspect. So I don't foresee that really being an issue, and especially for large countries like Australia, the United States, Canada, and all the other, top countries like that. So
cool. No, I love Pirate Chain. I've been into it for a long time. I was kind of convince these guys that we got to interview someone from Pirate Chain, just because I've been following the privacy, can see the future of it, but the adoption is always way longer than you expect, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean, you can't expect the coin to be adopted on day one. It takes. I mean, look at Bitcoin for
unless it's named after food.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously. Man, you have no idea how mad I get at sometimes with, just these stupid coins that literally have no purpose and they just blow up for no reason. It's just like, really? People should care about privacy. I mean, granted, I'd love for them to use Pirate Chain, but even if they use Monero or something like that, at least I know that people care about their privacy, So, and that's, like I said, we all truly care about privacy, and we want to see people actually take their privacy in their own hands. So,
yeah. Look, fantastic. We will be following along as you guys progress. So anyone watching this, if you've got questions, please put them in the comments below, and we'd love to have you back on maybe in a month or two's time and do a bit of an update on what we've learned about you, and cover some of the questions that I know are going to come in thick and fast. It tends to be quite a polarizing space, the privacy space. So I'm sure we're going to get a lot of interesting feedback on this one. And yeah, we'd love to host you back here again in a couple of months. Thanks very much for your time.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. It was great.
Excellent. Thanks. Cheers, guys.
Take care.